Hello everyone, so today we are going to discuss about the biology class 7 annual exam solutions. So let us start quickly. Let us take the multiple choice questions first. Phloem is, many of you have written complex permanent tissue, you did not read underneath. It is also a food conducting tissue, so it will be both of the above. Parenchyma is present in aquatic plants. The largest part of the brain is cerebrum. Urine is stored in. Now, it does not say what means does urine take to be removed from the body. It's asked where is it stored. It is stored in the urinary bladder. Allergy can be caused by, yes, food, dust, pollen, all of these. Tissues capable of division are not both of these. Many of you have written both of these. It will be meristematic tissue, right? Small openings on the surface of leaves are, yes, you know it, stomata. Powerhouse of the cell is mitochondria. Which of these is not a connective tissue? All these tendons, ligaments, cartilage, all of them are connective tissue. Neuron is a tissue that belongs to the nervous system. It is not a connective tissue. This tissue acts as an insulator. This is the adipose tissue. Many of you have written areolar tissue. That is not correct. It will be adipose tissue. Now let us check out the fill in the blanks. So when we look at the fill in the blanks, the axons of many neurons have an outer covering layer called as myelin sheath. Okay, that is what your answer should be. The full form of ATP is adenosine triphosphate. That is how you should be writing it. Adenosine triphosphate. Glomerulus and Bowman's capsule together are known as Malpighian capsule or Malpighian body. Both of them are correct. You can write Malpighian capsule or Malpighian body. The yellow color of urine is due to the presence of bile. So you can write bile or you can also add bile pigments. Right. The outer region of the kidney is called as, yes, you know it, it is cortex, outer cortex and inner medulla. Now let us talk about this. Name any two of the following supporting connective tissue. Now many of you got confused over here. This is an animal tissue. Many of you wrote parenchyma, collenchyma. They are supporting tissue, but they are not supporting connective tissue. When we are talking about supporting connective tissue, it is bone and cartilage, right? These are the supporting connective tissues. Common disorders of the urinary system. Now some of you have written that there is blood in the urine, foul smell in the urine. No, we are talking about the ailments. We are talking about the disorders. So you can write UTI, you can write kidney stones, you can also write diabetes and so on. Types of nerves. Now type of nerves, they can be classified as spinal nerve, cranial nerve, they can be classified as sensory nerve, motor nerve, mixed nerve, whichever one it is, you can write it. So types of nerves, either you write spinal nerve and cranial nerve, or you write motor nerve, sensory nerve, mixed nerve. Out of these three, any two you can write. Okay, so that would be the correct answer. Entry route of allergens. So nose, mouth, skin, all these are the entry routes of allergens. So you can write any two. Types of respiration, you know it is aerobic and anaerobic. Sorry, just a minute. It will be anaerobic. So this will be the correct answer. Now let us move on to the next part, which was define the following. Now in define, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to write what do these mean. So if you are talking about anaphylaxis, what is it that you are supposed to write? You are supposed to write that it is a life threatening reaction to certain allergens. That is anaphylaxis. If you are using some different words, the meaning must be the same. Alright. Now hemodialysis or dialysis is the process in which an artificial kidney is used or a machine is used to filter the blood because the natural kidneys are not functioning properly. Right. Now reflex action. Reflex action is spontaneous or immediate. Right. Immediate response to a stimulus. You remember, like taking your hand away whenever you touch something hot. So immediate response to a stimuli, that would be reflex action. Now synapse, many of you have written it correctly. It is the junction where the communication between two neurons takes place, right? So the message which is passed on from one neuron to another, it passes through this junction, which is the synapse, right? I'm just writing this word over here. I'm not writing the full answer. Autotrophs, we know that they are organisms who can prepare their own food. They are called as autotrophs, right? Now let us come to the next question. Differentiate between the following: blood and lymph function. So the function of blood, if you look at it, the blood functions in many ways. So it helps in exchange of gases, right? The blood helps in exchange of gases. It carries the gases. It transports a lot of things throughout the body. It helps in exchange of gases. It helps in transportation and so many things. When we are talking about lymph maintains the fluid inside our body, and majorly the function of the lymph is to fight against diseases. So fight against infections, fight against the pathogens that have entered our body. So you could have written any of these. Now ureter and urinary bladder, remember you have to differentiate between them based on their structure. So ureters are tube-like, whereas urinary bladder is bag-shaped. So it is like a bag which stores the urine. Now let us talk about cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Number of pairs. How many pairs are there? So cranial nerves, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves and there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Voluntary and involuntary action definition. So many of you got this correct. Voluntary action means something which we do of our own will, right? Something on which we have a control. Like I'm speaking right now, I have control over it. If I wish to, I can stop and not speak. But involuntary action, while I'm speaking, my eyes are blinking. As I'm looking at the screen, my eyes are blinking. That is an involuntary action. So this is, we cannot control these actions, the process of digestion and all this. So this is under our control, voluntary action. Now cerebellum and medulla oblongata location. Now the cerebellum is located below the cerebrum. So if we are talking about cerebellum, it is below the cerebrum and above the medulla oblongata, whereas medulla oblongata is the lowest part of the brain. This is the middle part of the brain. Cerebellum is the middle part of the brain, whereas medulla oblongata is the lowest part of the brain, where it is situated above the spinal cord, right? So as soon as the brain part ends and the spinal cord begins, the medulla oblongata is located in that region. Now let us come to this question. Say true or false and correct the false statements. Now what many of you did was, you wrote true or false, but you did not correct the false statements. Now let me tell you over here that all of these statements were false statements. So let us check out what were the correct answers. Over here, neuron is the structure and function of unit of kidney. No, you did not pay attention. It is nephron, which is the structural and functional unit of kidney. or you could have written neuron is the structural and functional unit of nervous system. Lungs are digestive organs. Now either you could have written any of the organs like stomach, intestines are digestive organs, or you could have written lungs are excretory organs or respiratory organs. Both of them are correct, but they are definitely not digestive organs. Peripheral nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. No. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Antibodies are responsible for the symptoms of allergy. No. Antibodies, in response to the antibodies, there our body produces certain histamines. Right. Histamines are responsible for the symptoms of allergy. Many of you have written allergens are responsible. No, the chemicals which cause allergy, we call them as allergens. So we are talking about the chemicals over here, the histamines, which are responsible for the symptoms of allergy. Asthma is a type of skin allergy. No, asthma is type of a dust allergy, you can write, or some have written eczema is a type of skin allergy. Asthma is a type of respiratory allergy, you could write. Some have written dust allergy. So okay, fine, it makes the meaning clear, so we will give you marks for that. Alright, now let us come to the next question. Give the functions of the following. Cerebrum, it is the logical and analytical part, so it is responsible for thinking and reasoning. That is the function of our cerebrum. It is the largest part of the brain. Now lenticels, they are tiny openings in the stem and they help in exchange of gases during night time when the stomata are closed. Xylem, xylem is responsible for the conduction of water and minerals throughout the plant body. And when we talk about urethra, urethra is the opening through which urine is expelled out of our body. So this is the organ which helps the urine to be expelled from our body, expelled out of our body. Now we are talking about spinal cord. So spinal cord, it is the center for reflex action. That is also correct. It is the center for reflex action, or you can also write it helps to transmit messages from and to the brain. So it is a connect between the rest of the body and the brain, and all the messages that pass on to the brain or that are coming from the brain, they are taken care of by the spinal cord. So that was the function of spinal cord. Now let us look up the next part. Give the location and function of the cardiac muscles. When we are talking about cardiac muscle over here, we know that where is cardiac muscle located? It is located in the heart. So this that is the location and function. It helps the heart to contract and expand. It helps the heart to pump blood. Either of them is fine, either of them is okay. But if you write it pumps the blood, no, it does not pump the blood itself. It helps the heart to pump the blood to the rest of the body. So basically it is responsible for the contraction and expansion or relaxation of heart, right, so that it can pump the blood properly. Mention 2 common symptoms of dust allergy. Most of you have written it: sneezing, then itching, itchy eyes, watery eyes. So all of them are correct. Itchy, watery eyes, both of them are correct. Write one line each about the steps in the formation of, it should have been urine over here. So it was corrected in your paper. one line each about the steps in formation of urine. So there were 3 steps basically: filtration, then second step reabsorption, and secretion, right? So many of you also added excretion over there. Excretion is not a step in the formation of urine. We are talking excretion is the method by which the urine is expelled out of the body, but we are talking about the steps in formation of urine. So there are only 3 steps over here: filtration, where all the waste that needs to be thrown out in filtration, and remember you had to write 1 line each. So waste is filtered, right? Then along with this waste, many useful substances are also filtered during filtration process. So in reabsorption, useful substances are reabsorbed, right? Because we need them in our body, so reabsorption happens. And then secretion, some of the waste that is not filtered through the blood but at that time, but it needs to be removed. So those substances, those harmful substances, are once again secreted into the urine so that it can finally be thrown out of the body, right? Now draw a neat and labeled, even if you do not mention what substances are there which are filtered or what are the useful substances, it's perfectly fine as long as you understand what is happening during filtration, reabsorption or secretion. That is enough. Draw a neat and labeled diagram of the excretory system in humans. Most of you have drawn it correctly. Mention any 2 ways by which allergy can be treated. Now remember, here many of you committed error, because what you have written is ways by which it is prevented. We are not talking about the prevention of allergy, we are talking about the treatment. So remember, you need to understand the difference. Prevention is when you are taking necessary precautions to stop that problem from affecting you. That is, in case this is allergy over here. So we are taking precautions, we are taking preventions, we are using face mask, we are not going to places that are too dusty, and we are taking care of our surroundings so that we are not affected by allergies. But what it is talking about over here is the treatment. So in treatment you have to mention that we have to take antihistamines. Antihistamines, remember we talked about histamines are the chemicals which cause symptoms of allergy. So if we are using antihistamines, then it helps to counter the allergic reactions. Then there are corticosteroids. So that part in your textbook which you missed already, which you missed totally. So corticosteroids. Then there is immunotherapy to increase your immunity. So immunotherapy, immunotherapy I have written, sorry, immunotherapy, right? So these are some, no, we cannot take antibiotics for treatment of allergies. Antibiotics do not help in treatment of allergies. Basically, doctors say that allergies cannot be treated as such, as in fully treated. But yes, we can take some medicines that we can follow some treatment schedules that will help to reduce the symptoms of the allergy to a great extent so that it does not affect us a lot, right? Now let us talk about the next question, which is mention any 4 raw materials used for photosynthesis. Over here, what is it that you had to write? Sunlight, water, chlorophyll, and carbon dioxide. These are the 4 raw materials without which photosynthesis will not be possible. So you have to write 4 raw materials. What are the things that are necessary for the process of photosynthesis to occur? Now let us talk about the 3 functions of kidney. So when we are talking about the functions of kidney, what is it that we are talking about? First and foremost, it helps to remove nitrogenous waste. That is what is important for you to mention over here, because other wastes are there also in our body, like the digestive waste. So the waste which is undigested, so that is removed by the process of digestion, by the process of egestion. Now, but kidney, it helps us to remove the nitrogenous waste from our body. What are these nitrogenous wastes? They are like urea, ammonia, uric acid and stuff like that. All right. Now, other part is it helps to maintain the pH of body fluids. Now, pH is like, you just need to understand that it is an indicator which tells us how acidic or how alkaline, what is the level of acidity or alkalinity. Like water is pH neutral. So if something acidic is added to it, like some lime juice or something, it becomes acidic. If something alkaline like milk is added to it, it becomes alkaline. So the body fluids need to maintain their pH, because many reactions which are happening in the body, they will occur only at a specific pH level. So this pH of the body fluids is also maintained by the kidneys. Then for other function, you can say that it also helps in thermoregulation, like many of you wrote that it helps to maintain the body temperature. So thermoregulation is another name for maintenance of body temperature. So these three functions of kidney you could have written. If you have written them, you will get full mark. Or if you have written something else like it helps to remove other waste, it helps to clean the blood, okay, fine, that is also not an incorrect answer. Give three differences between photosynthesis and respiration. Now over here, what you need to understand first is that we are talking about the processes over here. So what is photosynthesis and what is respiration? So first and foremost, many of you write that photosynthesis occurs in plants and respiration occurs in animals. No, it occurs both in animals and plants. It occurs in all living organisms, whereas photosynthesis will occur only in some green plants and some photosynthetic bacteria that are there. Then in this process, oxygen is produced, right? And here oxygen is used. Then here carbon dioxide is used, and here carbon dioxide is produced, right? Now this occurs only during daytime because it requires sunlight. This occurs all the time, day and night. Throughout the day it occurs. Then you can also write energy is produced over here in respiration, whereas during photosynthesis energy is used. So now this is an anabolic process, this is a catabolic process. So this is new substances are created. Over here you can write in photosynthesis new substances. What is the new substance that is being created? Which is the glucose. New substance is created or formed, whereas over here there is breakdown of substances. So glucose is formed over here. Glucose is a byproduct, where here there is breakdown of glucose. So you can say new substance, glucose is created or formed, whereas over here glucose is broken down. So either of these, any of these three differences you can write. Now let us come to this part of the question paper. Label the parts 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. The first one is the outer cortex. The second one is the inner medulla. The third one is the renal pelvis. The fourth one is the ureter. Right? Now name two skeletal connective tissues. So I intentionally gave this question so that for you to identify whether you know them or not. Many of you got this correct. again this is bone and cartilage. They are the two skeletal connective tissues. So give the function of any one of them. So you can write bone, it gives a framework to our body, or it forms the endoskeleton. Cartilage, it gives flexibility. So either of these functions you can mention. The leaves are more suitable for carrying out the process of photosynthesis. Give any 3 reasons to support your answer. So here you were supposed to give reasons as to why you think that photosynthesis occurs in leaves. First and foremost, they have chlorophyll, right? Because if they did not have chlorophyll, they would not have been able to perform photosynthesis, because it is chlorophyll that traps the sunlight, right? So it has chlorophyll. Then it has wide lamina, right? So that it gets a large surface for it to trap the sunlight. It can absorb maximum sunlight, and therefore it can help in the process of photosynthesis. Then it has stomata, right, which help in the exchange of gases. So if the stomata is not present everywhere, the stomata is not present in the roots, it's not present on the stem. Yes, lenticels are present on the stem, but stomata is not present on the stem. So it helps in the exchange of gases, and also it regulates the amount of glucose that would be in the tissues, in the phloem tissues. So it helps in the transportation of food or glucose as well as it is formed. So these are some specific reasons, and then there is also this reason that the leaves, they have a constant supply of water and minerals through their veins, so that the process is not interrupted. So it keeps on getting constantly the water and minerals, which keep on dissolving the glucose, and the phloem vessels, they keep on sending transporting the food to all the parts of the body, right? Now let us come to the next question. Where is a nephron found? Of course, it is found in the kidney. What are the functions of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule? So glomerulus is actually where the filtration takes place in the process of the formation of urine. And Bowman's capsule holds this glomerulus. So it is like a cup-shaped structure where the glomerulus is held and it collects the filtrate, right? So if you have written it collects the filtrate or it holds the filtrate, that is also correct. Or if you simply write that it holds the glomerulus, that is also correct. So both these functions are appropriate. Now let us come to the last bit. Just give an example each of a voluntary and involuntary action. Most of you got it correct. Voluntary action, you said I want to pick up a favorite food. Involuntary action, the heart beating fast after some exercise or anything. Name any 4 substances excreted by liver. So we have bile over here, bile pigments if you have written bilirubin. Now bile and bilirubin if you have written, both of them are the same because bile is made up of bilirubin, right? So you cannot write bile separately and bilirubin separately. So then you have urea, then you have ammonia, and you have uric acid, and then you have some what else do we have? We have some hormones that are excreted by the liver. Then we have certain vitamins that are excreted by the liver. Then we have cholesterol. Then also we have some drugs or some chemicals that are excreted by the liver. So if you have mentioned any 4 of these, you will get marks. Now let us come to the next question. Reena went to visit Sundarbans and there she saw some unique plants growing in salty water. What are these plants called? Mangroves. Many of you wrote mangroves. No, it is mangroves. Single O. What are the specialized roots called? Pneumatophores. Right? What is the function of these specialized root? They help in respiration. They have air spaces in them and they are able to respire, so they help the plant to respire, because these mangroves, they grow in such land where it is very marshy, so there is very less oxygen inside for them. So that's why the roots, they come outside the soil, outside the mud, to breathe, so they help in respiration. Now let us look at the last question. What is this experiment setup showing? This experiment setup shows that is photosynthesis needs sunlight, or sunlight is essential for photosynthesis. That's why we are using this black strip, because wherever we put in the black strip, what happens when a part of the leaf is covered with black strip? This part does not receive sunlight. That means in this part, photosynthesis is not happening, right? Why does only some part of the leaf turn blue-black when treated with iodine solution? Now you know that iodine solution is a starch test, is a test for starch. Iodine solution tells us whenever you put iodine on the leaf, you will see that wherever starch is present, the leaf will turn blue-black. But here we see that some parts are covered with the black strip. So those parts are not performing so photosynthesis. There the process of photosynthesis is not happening. So those parts will not have starch, and therefore those parts will not turn blue-black, and only some parts will turn blue-black when they are treated with iodine solution. So that was that for the biology test exam paper solution. I hope that you were able to get your doubts clarified. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Take care.